All right, so ready to jump into some interview prep.
Always exciting.
Today we're tackling the Electronics Production Supervisor role,
Got it.
and we've got three great resources to help us out.
Okay.
A career guide, an interview guide, and info on RoleCatcher itself.
Sounds like we're well equipped.
Our mission, to give you the knowledge and the confidence to nail that interview.
Love it. Let's get started.
So, first things first. What does an electronics production supervisor actually do?
Right to the point. I like it.
I was looking through the career guide, and one thing that really jumped out at me was the scope of this role.
Okay. In what sense?
Well, they use the phrase overseeing the entire production process,
I see.
from sourcing materials to quality control.
It's a big picture role, for sure.
Yeah, and it's not just about the technical stuff.
Yeah.
They also talk about managing the labor force for efficiency.
So, leadership is key.
Definitely. What are your thoughts on that blend of skills?
It's a crucial combo. Think about it. You're in a bustling manufacturing facility,
Oh, yeah.
potentially noisy, maybe even needing safety gear.
Definitely not a desk job.
Right. You need to be comfortable making decisions under pressure,
Yeah,
coordinating teams,
absolutely.
and ensuring everyone is working safely and effectively.
That brings us to a point that the career guide doesn't shy away from,
What's that?
the comms.
Ah, yes. The less glamorous side.
Long hours and high stress are definitely part of the deal.
True. You need resilience.
Okay, but on the flip side, there's job stability
Yes.
and the potential for a high salary.
True. It's a demanding role, but often well compensated.
So how do we make sure your skills and personality shine through in the interview?
Preparation is key.
And that's where the interview guide comes in.
Absolutely. Packed with sample questions.
And RoleCatcher's AI can give you a real advantage.
You mean the CV resume builder?
Yes, it helps you tailor your resume.
To highlight the skills they're looking for.
Exactly. And Copilot goes even further.
Really? How so?
It analyzes the job description and helps you craft interview answers that hit those key points.
Wow. It's like having a personalized coach.
Okay, let's dive into the first question from the interview guide. What experience do you have in electronics production?
All right. Sounds straightforward, but what are they really after?
They want proof that you understand the world of electronics production.
Okay, but not just theoretically.
Right, through real-world experience.
So how do you convey that effectively?
Instead of just listing past roles, highlight projects or tasks.
That show your involvement in different parts of the production process.
Exactly. Did you work on assembly?
Testing.
Quality control. Get specific and show them you've got a well-rounded background.
Makes sense. Paint a complete picture.
So instead of just saying, I worked on a production line,
Which is a bit vague.
I might say, I was responsible for the final testing of circuit boards for medical devices.
Perfect. Much more specific.
And be ready for those follow-up questions.
Oh, yeah. They'll dig deeper.
They might ask about your biggest successes,
Or challenges in those roles.
giving you a chance to showcase your problem-solving abilities.
Okay, so how about the next question?
All right, the next one is, how do you ensure that production targets are met? Now I'm feeling the pressure.
I can imagine. What's the best way to approach this one?
Don't just talk about working hard. They're looking for a leader.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice?
Think about specific strategies you've used to keep production on track.
Like what?
Detailed production schedules, clear communication with your team, and being able to adapt when things go wrong.
Right, because things will inevitably go wrong.
Exactly. And I bet they'll want to hear about those moments.
Oh, for sure. How do you handle those setbacks?
They might ask, tell me about a time you missed a production target.
Yeah.
What did you learn from that experience?
Classic. Show them you can analyze setbacks, learn from your mistakes, and come up with solutions.
Maybe you refined your tracking system or improved communication protocols after a missed deadline.
Exactly. Show them you're always growing as a leader. On to the next one.
Yep. What is your experience with quality control in electronics production?
Ah, quality control. Super important in electronics.
Totally. Even a tiny flaw can have major consequences.
Right. So what are they looking for here?
They want to see that you're meticulous.
Yep.
Talk about specific quality control systems you've used.
Give me some examples.
Statistical process control, visual inspections, automated testing methods.
So basically prove that you understand the importance of quality at every stage.
Right. And don't just say, I made sure things were good quality.
Right. That's not very convincing.
I might say, I implemented a new statistical process control system that reduced defect rates by 10%.
Much better. Concrete examples.
Okay, ready for a question about safety.
Hit me.
How do you ensure that employees are following safety protocols in the production facility?
Safety is paramount. Absolutely.
They're looking for more than just someone who tells people to be safe.
Of course, it's about creating a culture of safety.
How do you do that?
Talk about safety training programs,
Yeah.
visual aids and reminders,
Right.
maybe even reward systems for teams with excellent safety records.
So it's about going beyond the bare minimum.
And truly embedding safety into the workplace culture.
What kind of follow-up might they ask here?
Maybe. Tell me about a time you had to address an employee who wasn't following safety protocols.
Well, that's a tough one.
It is. This is where you show your ability to enforce the rules while maintaining a positive work environment.
So provide additional training or coaching. Make sure the employee really gets it.
Exactly. It's about more than just reprimanding. Let's keep going, shall we?
Yep. This one's about leadership. How do you manage employee performance in the production facility?
Getting to the heart of it.
They want to see if you can motivate and guide your team to achieve their best.
Sounds about right. So how would you respond?
Talk about your experience with performance management systems.
Like what?
Setting individual targets, conducting regular reviews, providing ongoing feedback.
Makes sense. But what about when an employee isn't meeting expectations?
They might ask, tell me about a time you had to address an underperforming employee.
Oh, the classic scenario.
This is where you show your ability to provide constructive criticism,
Okay.
create performance improvement plans,
Right.
and ultimately help employees reach their full potential.
It's about being firm but fair and showing that you're invested in their success.
Okay, next question. How do you manage production costs?
The financial side of things.
It's a big one, especially in such a competitive industry.
Right. So what do they want to hear?
They're not looking for someone who just slashes costs.
Okay.
They want someone who can find creative ways to optimize processes,
All right.
reduce waste, improve efficiency, but without sacrificing quality.
That's a delicate balance. Any tips on how to convey that?
Knowledge of lean manufacturing principles can be really helpful here.
Oh, yeah. Lean manufacturing is huge in production.
If you've implemented lean strategies in the past, this is your time to shine.
Give them examples.
Talk about specific projects, the challenges you overcame, and the quantifiable results you achieved.
Right. Don't just say, I reduced costs.
Exactly. I might say, I implemented a Kanban system that reduced work-in-progress inventory by 20%, saving the company $50,000 per quarter.
Perfect. Make it concrete.
All right, let's move on to a question about interpersonal skills. How do you handle conflicts between employees in the production facility?
Conflict is inevitable in any workplace.
Especially in a high-pressure environment.
So they want to see how you navigate those situations.
Right. Highlight your skills in active listening, mediation, and finding solutions that benefit the entire team.
So it's about being a facilitator and a peacemaker.
Exactly. Not about taking sides or playing judge.
What kind of follow-up might they have?
They might ask, describe a specific conflict you resolved between team members and the steps you took to reach a resolution.
Give them a real-world example of your conflict resolution skills in action.
Okay, next question. What leadership style do you use when managing a team?
This is a chance to showcase your personality and approach.
There's no one right answer here.
It's about being authentic and describing a leadership style that truly reflects your values.
But we should back up our claims with concrete examples, right?
They might ask, can you give an example of how your leadership style has been successful in a production setting?
So, tell a story. A time you motivated your team, resolved a conflict, or fostered a positive work environment.
Make it come alive.
Okay, ready for another one?
Shoot.
How do you ensure that the production facility is meeting regulatory requirements?
Oh, compliance. Can't forget about that.
So many rules and regulations.
It can feel overwhelming, but you need to show that you understand them.
And take compliance seriously.
Definitely. Talk about your experience with industry standards, safety protocols, environmental regulations, the whole 9 yards.
So I'm not just focused on production. I'm thinking about the bigger picture.
Exactly. What kind of follow-up might they ask?
Maybe, tell me about a time you identified a potential regulatory issue in the production facility and the steps you took to address it.
Showcase your proactive approach to compliance, your problem-solving skills.
All right, moving on. This one feels a bit open-ended. How do you prioritize tasks in the production facility?
This is a chance to show off your organizational skills.
And your ability to think strategically.
Talk about the specific systems or frameworks you use to prioritize tasks.
Like what?
A simple to-do list, a project management tool, maybe even a specific methodology like the Eisenhower matrix.
How do we connect those skills to the demands of a fast-paced production environment?
They might ask, describe a time you had to juggle multiple competing priorities in a production setting.
Stay calm under pressure.
Make sound decisions.
Keep the production process running smoothly.
Show them you can handle it. Ready for one more?
Bring it on.
All right. What is your approach to motivating and leading a team of production workers in a high-pressure environment?
This one seems to be getting at the heart of what it takes to be an effective leader in this role.
Right. It's about more than just giving orders. You need to inspire your team.
Create a sense of purpose.
Foster a positive and supportive work environment.
So should we talk about specific strategies we use to motivate our team?
Absolutely. Do you use regular team meetings?
Yeah,
Provide opportunities for professional development?
of course.
Celebrate achievement.
Definitely. It's all about finding that balance between pushing people to achieve their best and creating a supportive environment.
And remember, every team is different.
So adapt your leadership style to meet their needs.
Exactly. Be ready to share a specific example of how you've successfully motivated a team in the past. Good to move on.
Yep. What's next?
How about, tell me about a time you had to make a difficult decision that impacted your team.
Oh, those are never easy.
No, but they happen. They want to see your judgment.
Your communication skills.
Your ability to make tough calls while keeping morale up.
It's a classic behavioral interview question. We need a good story.
One that shows your leadership in action. First, set the stage.
Describe the situation and the decision you had to make.
What were the stakes?
What were the potential consequences?
Then outline your process.
How did you go about making the decision?
Did you gather input from your team?
Analyze data. Consult with others.
Show them you didn't rush it.
Then explain your rationale.
What factors did you consider?
What values or principles guided your choice?
Help them understand your thinking.
Then describe the impact.
What were the outcomes?
How did it affect your team and the organization?
Finally, highlight the lessons learned.
What did you take away from the experience?
How did it shape your approach to decision-making? And remember, don't be afraid to be a little vulnerable.
It's okay to admit that it was tough or that you made mistakes.
What matters is that you learned and grew.
Okay, ready to dive into another cost-related question.
Sure, bring it on.
Describe a time when you had to implement cost-saving measures in a production environment.
Okay, so they want specifics.
How did you approach the task?
What were the results?
This one's all about showcasing your understanding of lean manufacturing
Your ability to identify areas for improvement.
and your skill in implementing change effectively.
So it's not about slashing and burning.
Right. It's about finding ways to eliminate waste, streamline processes, and improve efficiency without sacrificing quality.
Okay, how would you structure your answer?
First, identify the problem.
What specific cost challenge were you facing?
Material waste, inefficient processes, excessive overtime. Paint a clear picture.
Then analyze the situation.
What steps did you take to analyze the problem and find areas for improvement?
Did you conduct a value stream mapping exercise?
Collect data on production times and defect rates.
Observe processes to identify bottlenecks?
Then develop a plan.
Outline the cost-saving measures you proposed and how you implemented them.
Did you involve your team?
Seek buy-in from management.
Implement changes gradually.
Then measure the results.
How much money did you save?
How did the changes affect productivity and morale?
And finally, highlight the lessons learned.
What would you do differently next time?
Quantify your results whenever possible.
Numbers speak volumes.
Instead of, we reduced waste,
Right.
say we reduced material waste by 15%, saving the company $10,000 per quarter.
Much more impactful.
Shows you're a data-driven leader who delivers.
All right, let's keep this momentum going.
That's good to me.
What's next on our list?
We've got plenty more to cover, so stay tuned.
I'm ready when you are.
All right, let's dive back in.
Let's do it. Back for more interview prep.
Always ready to dive deeper.
Good to hear. Today, we're focusing on how to stand out as an electronics production supervisor candidate.
And we're not just talking about acing the interview itself.
Right. It's about showcasing your commitment to continuous learning.
That's something that really stood out to me in the career guide.
It's essential in this field. Electronics is all about innovation. You need to be a lifelong learner.
The career guide actually mentions specific certifications.
Like what?
Six Sigma Green Belt, for example.
Ah, Six Sigma. A valuable credential.
What's so special about it?
It's a methodology for process improvement. Focuses on reducing defects and variation.
So it's about making production more efficient.
And predictable. The Green Belt certification shows a solid understanding of those principles.
So it's not just about fixing problems, it's about preventing them in the first place.
Exactly. That kind of proactive mindset is gold in this role.
Okay, let's get back to those interview questions.
Sure. Where did we leave off?
The next one is, describe your experience working with lean manufacturing principles.
Lean manufacturing. A big one in production.
They want to see that you can streamline processes.
Boost efficiency.
So it's about more than just cutting costs, right?
It's about creating a more effective production process overall.
Precisely. The interview guide suggests talking about specific projects.
Where you apply the lean principles
Maybe you implemented 5S methodology
to create a more organized workspace,
or used Kanban.
to reduce bottlenecks.
I've heard those terms, but honestly, I'm not totally clear what they mean.
No problem. Happy to explain.
So what's 5S all about?
It's a framework for workplace organization. Stands for sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain.
So basically, it's about eliminating clutter,
Creating clear visual cues.
establishing consistent procedures. Makes sense. And what about Kanban?
It's a visual system for managing work. Think of a board with columns.
Representing different stages of a process
Right. Tasks are represented by carts.
that move across the board as work progresses.
Exactly. You can see bottlenecks and track progress.
So when answering this question, we should give specific examples.
Of how you've used these techniques.
Don't just name drop them. Explain how you apply them and the results you achieved.
Show them you know how to put these principles into action.
Okay, ready for a question about handling delays.
Always a fun one.
The interview guide asks, how do you handle a situation where a production line is falling behind schedule?
The dreaded delays. They're bound to happen.
Well, they want to hear.
They want to see how you approach those situations.
First, acknowledge the urgency.
Show them you understand the impact of delays.
But then what? I can't just say, I'd panic.
Right. Walk them through your problem-solving process.
How would you identify the root cause of the delay?
Is it materials, equipment, a process bottleneck?
Once you've identified the problem, what steps would you take?
Maybe reallocate resources.
Expedite orders.
Implement a temporary workaround.
It's about showing them I'm proactive.
Solution-oriented.
And don't forget about communication.
Right. Keeping everyone informed, managing expectations.
Clear communication can prevent a lot of headaches.
This question is all about thinking on your feet.
Staying calm under pressure.
A specific example from your past experience can really strengthen your answer.
All right, let's talk about quality.
Always a top priority.
The interview guide asks, describe your process for ensuring that all products meet quality standards.
In electronics, quality is everything. It can make or break a company.
They want to see that you're meticulous,
That you have a system.
that quality is embedded throughout the process.
Right. Not just an afterthought.
You could start by outlining your quality management philosophy.
Do you believe in preventing defects?
Catching them early,
Emphasize continuous improvement.
then walk them through the specific measures you implement.
What are some examples?
Incoming inspections of materials,
In-process checks.
final inspections before shipping.
And explain the why behind each measure.
How does it contribute to overall quality?
Show them you have a well-defined system.
Okay, next question. How do you delegate tasks effectively,
Delegation is a crucial leadership skill.
especially in a busy production environment?
They want someone who can trust their team.
Empower them.
Create a more efficient workflow.
So it's about more than just handing off tasks.
Right. It's about empowering your team to do their best.
Start by explaining your delegation philosophy.
Do you match tasks to skills?
Set clear expectations.
Provide support.
Then walk them through your process.
How do you choose the right person?
Communicate expectations and deadlines.
Provide feedback. A specific example of successful delegation can really bring this to life.
Show them you can get results through others.
All right, ready to tackle conflict resolution.
Bring it on.
How do you handle conflict between team members?
Conflict happens. It's inevitable.
Especially under pressure.
They want to know you can address it constructively.
Maintain a positive environment.
So I need to highlight my skills as a peacemaker.
Exactly. Active listening, mediation, finding solutions that work for everyone.
I'm not taking sides. I'm finding common ground
And you're not just resolving conflicts, you're preventing them.
by fostering a culture of respect.
Open communication
They might ask for a specific example.
of how you navigated a conflict in the past.
Show them the steps you took and the positive outcomes.
Okay, ready to talk about motivation.
Absolutely.
How do you motivate your team to achieve production goals?
This seems like a really important one for this role.
It is. It's about more than just setting targets.
You need to inspire them.
Give them a sense of purpose.
Create a positive environment. So talk about specific strategies.
Do you use team meetings?
Professional development opportunities.
Celebrate achievements.
It's about finding that balance again.
Pushing for results while providing support.
And remembering that every team is different.
Adapt your leadership style accordingly.
Have a good example ready. One that shows you've motivated a team to reach a challenging goal.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit.
All right, what's next?
What are your long-term career goals?
Oh, the big picture question.
They want to see your ambition.
Your sense of direction.
Be authentic. What are your true aspirations?
What if my goal is to start my own business?
That's fine. Just connect it back to the role.
Maybe this role will give me the experience I need.
Or the company has an entrepreneurial spirit.
It's not about having a perfect plan. It's about showing them you have a vision.
And highlight your commitment to continuous learning.
Certifications, conferences, staying up to date.
Show them you're invested in your growth.
Okay, next question. What is your availability to start?
Seems straightforward, but there's a little nuance to it.
What do you mean?
They need your timeline, but it's also about professionalism.
Even if I'm eager, I shouldn't just say, I can start tomorrow.
Right. Be honest about your notice, period.
But also express enthusiasm.
Exactly. I'm currently working, but I can give 2 weeks' notice.
I'm excited about this opportunity and happy to discuss a start date.
Perfect. Shows respect for your current employer.
While conveying your eagerness.
All right, here comes a potentially tricky one.
Uh-oh, what is it?
Why are you leaving your current job?
This one always feels like a minefield.
It can be. The key is to stay positive.
Even if I'm leaving because my current job is a nightmare.
Resist the temptation to badmouth your boss or company.
So what should I focus on?
Your desire for growth, new challenges.
A better alignment with my goals.
Connect your reasons for leaving to what excites you about this new opportunity.
Show them you're not just running away, you're moving towards something better.
Exactly. Frame it positively.
Okay, last one for this section.
What is it?
Do you have any questions for us?
The classic closing question.
I always struggle with this one.
Prepare a few questions in advance.
It shows you're engaged and have done your research. What kind of questions should I ask?
Focus on things that will help you decide if this is the right fit for you.
Company culture.
Professional development opportunities.
The team I'd be working with.
The company's priorities.
Maybe I could ask about the company's core values.
And how those are reflected in the work environment.
Shows I'm thinking about the bigger picture.
Exactly. It's not just about the tasks. It's about the overall fit.
All right, so we've covered a ton of ground on how to prepare for this interview.
We've talked about showcasing your skills, your experience.
But now let's bring in this secret weapon.
Ah, you mean RoleCatcher.
Exactly. How can RoleCatcher help take our prep to the next level?
Well, what we've talked about so far, those are fundamentals. They apply to any interview.
Right, makes sense.
But RoleCatcher, it's AI-powered.
Okay.
It can zero in on the specifics.
You mean for this particular job?
Exactly. It helps you tailor your answers.
Okay, so let's say I've already used the CV resume builder.
So you've got a tailored resume.
Yes. So how does RoleCatcher help with the actual interview?
Copilot. It's designed for that.
Copilot. Fill me in.
It goes beyond generic advice.
Okay.
It analyzes the job description.
To understand what they're looking for.
Skills, experience, the whole package.
And then it helps me craft answers.
Answers that hit those key points.
So instead of giving a general answer to, tell me about your experience with quality control,
which could be pretty broad,
Copilot would help me tailor it.
to highlight the specific methods they're looking for.
I get it. So if the job description emphasizes automated testing,
Which is common these days.
Copilot would guide me to use examples of that.
Show them you've got the right experience.
Makes sense. It's one thing to have the experience,
Right.
but being able to articulate it,
In a way that resonates with them.
that's key. Okay, what about practicing?
Practicing your answers.
Yeah, I tend to get flustered in interviews.
Nerves can get the best of us.
My thoughts get all jumbled.
RoleCatcher can help with that too.
Really?
Video practice. Record yourself answering questions
Okay.
and then get feedback. AI-powered feedback.
So it's not just about what I say, it's how I say it.
Body language, tone of voice.
Even facial expression.
It analyzes all of that.
Wow. To help me project confidence.
Confidence and professionalism.
It's like having a personal coach.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And sometimes just the act of practicing
Yeah.
on video.
Yeah.
That can boost your confidence, too.
Makes you more comfortable.
Exactly.
Before we wrap up, let's circle back to something.
What's that?
Asking questions at the end of the interview.
Ah, yes. Don't forget that part.
The career guide talks about finding the right fit.
Not just for the company, but for you.
Exactly. So what kind of questions can help us get a feel for the company culture?
Can you describe the company culture?
Oh,
What's it like to work here?
I like that. What about professional development?
What are the opportunities for growth within the company?
Those are good starting points.
Yes.
I'm also curious about the team.
The team you'd be working with.
Yeah, and the leadership style. Maybe ask, can you tell me more about the team
Okay.
and the leadership style of my direct manager?
That's a good one. Shows you're thinking about the day-to-day.
And one more question I always like to ask.
What's that?
What are the company's priorities for the next year?
Okay.
And how does this role contribute?
Smart. It shows you're thinking big picture.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything you need to know.
To ace that Electronics Production Supervisor interview.
We've gone from understanding the role
To crafting answers.
to leveraging RoleCatcher's AI.
You're ready.
Remember, confidence is key.
Believe in yourself.
Showcase your skills.
Let your passion shine through.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher is there every step of the way.
Use those AI-powered tools.
Fine-tune your resume.
Practice your answers.
Gain that personalized edge.
Good luck with your interview. We're rooting for you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into prepping for the Electronics Production Supervisor interview. We'll catch you next time for another insightful exploration.